Rulebreaker, one who doesn't follow established rules, limitations, guidelines, or norms, acting in defiance of authority or tradition.
All rules are is limitations disguised as rules. So at the end of the day, you either gonna hate it or love it, but I'ma do me regardless.
Until my name get edged and stone, I break bones. Yeah. Do this for the locked up thugs, can't come home. Parallel to the slavery days, we were subordinates. Used to hang niggas from trees, we was the ornaments.
That's why I'm making hits.
Hey, hey! California loving. Take a drive through the city of angels.
Yo, my name is Sai, aka Half Man, Half Amazing, aka the Rulebreaker. I'm from South Central Los Angeles. I was born and raised on the east side, I grew up off of 76th Street in Wadsworth. And then later in my life, like when I was 10 years old, I moved to 85th and Western, and I spent 10 years over there. So I'm an east side and a west side baby. I'm familiar with both sides. My upbringing on the east side was like fun. Me and the homies would ride bikes, play fighting, and water balloon fights. It was dope, man. My childhood was pretty dope, I will say that. My home environment wasn't perfect, but it was as close to perfect as you can get. It was very loving. Jesus Christ was in our home. We was raised Christian. I got introduced to music at a very, very young age. I started singing and dancing when I was like 4 or 5. Like, that's when I started doing that. But I was really art was at the forefront of my mind. So I was an artist. I would draw a lot. I would draw graffiti. I would draw realistic photos. I would draw comic books, So I was really heavily into drawing. And a lot of times I would be laying on the floor drawing pictures. And then in the background, I would be watching a show called Smallville. That's how I got introduced to alternative rock, And my mom had hundreds of tapes from the 90s, So in the background while I'm drawing, not only am I watching Smallville, but I'm also watching Martin Lawrence show and Living Color. I'm watching all type of things, you feel me? Everything that came on in the 90s, that's what I was raised on. My introduction to R&B and rap is 90s stuff. The 3 songs that were my favorite when I was a kid that I got introduced to through them 90s tapes was Brian McKnight, One Last Cry, Tony Braxton, Another Sad Love Song, and Jodeci, Good Love. I saw Jodeci perform that on Soul Train, and I just fell in love with them 3 songs, So a lot of the time when I wanted to hear music, I would just I would fast forward to that part of the tape and I would press play and I would listen to it all the way through. Then I would rewind and then play it and listen to it all the way through. And I would just do that over and over and over. Cause those 3 songs right there, I really love. They really got a special place in my heart, So I started wanting to rap when I was age 10. One day I was watching X Factor and I seen this kid named Astronomical Kid. I was inspired, but at the same time, I wanted to battle him, And I never had tried to write a rap before, but that was my first time. And I wrote my first rap when I was at the age 10. I still remember how it went too, my first rap. I can never be fake. I got 24s sitting on 8s. My team is Lakers. I never trade. I got this swag. Brothers gonna hate. Haters don't hold me back. They just push me to my limits. I just ship they words out along with the shipments and merchandise. Yes, sir. I believe in Christ. Y'all not gonna take my privacy for electronic device. Yeah, no, that was terrible. But you feel me? It was hard for 10. When I was 10, I was the man with that rhyme, A lot of good came from moving to 85th and Western, and it really shaped the man who I am now. But it was hard. It was definitely hard. It was very violent, man. Growing up on 85th and Western, I seen a lot of things that I was not supposed to see at an early age. Like I said, it shaped who I am today, man. It really gave me the fire that I needed to make a change, to change all of the stuff that we go through, growing up in the hood, growing up in South Central. I remember when we first moved to 85th and Western, right? I thought we was rich, I thought we had hit the lottery or something like that, When we was growing up on the east side, our house was very run down. It was very slumlord vibe, type property. So when we moved to the west side, the houses are nicer on the west side. I just thought we was rich, everything looked nicer, the neighborhood looked nicer, the block looked nicer, and I just was happy. I remember being extremely excited, man, we rich now, me, you feel me? We rich, it's gonna be up from here. My family was over. We was eating Christmas dinner, and that's when reality hit me hard, man. I want to say midnight on the dot, maybe a little after midnight. I just remember hearing a gang of gunshots, man. My uncle was on the porch smoking, and he runs in the house. We all hit the lights, and we all are just, scared, terrified.
An innocent mother gunned down on Christmas Eve in front of her 3-year-old daughter.
She was shot and killed by those gang members on Christmas night 2010. Her 3-year-old daughter was there that night to witness what happened.
Somebody's mom got killed 2 doors down from where we just moved into. I just remember just thinking like, damn, like they kill mamas around here. Like they killed somebody's mom. Like I hope that don't happen to my mom, That was the first time I really felt fear, but it wouldn't be the last,
Search for the suspects underway right now after a double shooting in South LA.
One of the victims just 2 years old.
I was always the biggest kid in the room or the most grown-looking kid in the room, which led to me having a lot of problems, man. Like, a lot of people felt like I was older than what I actually looked, So I got exposed to things that I wasn't supposed to be exposed to. I definitely had to mature fast. I definitely had to get wise very quick. I was on my way to school one day, and I was in a blood neighborhood, So I was at the bus stop. And a dude comes up to me, man, and he bangs on me, you feel me? Because he see my navy blue Cortez. And I tell the dude I'm not from nowhere, but, that's when I learned in L.A., just because you say you're not from nowhere don't mean that the conflict is over. That doesn't mean it's the end of the confrontation. So the guy proceeds to call me out my name and talk about how I'm just telling them I don't bang so I could get out of the situation, and how he caught me slipping, and how I just didn't want to bang my hood. And I was telling him like, dude, I genuinely don't bang. You feel me? I'm not with none of that. He calls me out my name, and I get tired of the dude calling me out my name. So I get up to fight him, and he pulls out a gun. And that was the first time I ever got a gun pulled out on me, you feel me? I was 13 years old. He pulls out a gun, and I just sit back down like, you got it, bro. The angrier you get and the more crazy you act, the more respect you garner, you feel me? It put the battery in my back for the anger problems that I was having when I was growing up. I would get harassed by police, always getting told I fit a description, I was getting banged on, and then I was getting messed with by teachers. So my solution was curse everybody out and fight. I had a lot of run-ins where police officers would do stuff to antagonize me, and I end up cursing them out. They'll take me on a ride up the block, right? Because if they say I fit a description, they think that I'm in a gang, so they'll drop me off in the hood where they think that I'm gonna get hurt at. So it was just a bunch of things happening at once. But then when I turned 15, it really got real, you feel me? 15, that was the first time I had ever gotten shot at. I just spent a lot of time scared, and I would compensate for fear with anger, because fear felt like weakness, but anger felt like power. Retaliation is big in South Central. Like, if somebody do something to you, you supposed to find them and get busy. You feel me? Like, so it just was these rules that I learned, man, and I was always getting told who to be. That's why I stopped dancing. That's why I stopped singing, because I just felt like it was too soft. So, like, I kind of let people tell me who to be, and I kind of let people kill my dreams. But when I turned 18, I stopped allowing that, and that's when I decided who I wanted to be, you feel me? And that's when I became a true rule breaker. Even before I called myself one, even before I came up with the branding for it, I became a rule breaker because I started back dancing, I started back singing, and I didn't care what nobody said, because it was just like, this is me, like this is who I want to be, and I'm tired of people telling me who to be. When you're a child, you feel like you can do anything. That's why we say, oh, I want to be an astronaut when I'm a kid, or I want to be Spider-Man when I grow up. Like, we say so many things as a kid, and that's because you have that childlike joy. You have that freedom. You have no limitations placed on you, so your mind tells you that you can do anything. The older we get, the more rules, aka limitations, get placed upon us, and that's what makes us conform to what society tells us to be. And I don't believe in living your life like that. You'll never be happy. That's why I'm so heavy on Rulebreaker. That's why I'm so heavy on
I am free. No chains, no shackles, no rules disguised as limits can hold me. I choose my own path. I decide who I will become.
I am the rule breaker.